And they're off. Uncle's got stuff to do, doesn't have time to talk to Link, so excuse me. He'll leave behind a compass for the Eastern Palace, though.
That's about as good as a useless rupee troll.
Well, it depends if it's got pendant or not, but even so.
Alright, so let's take our bets now in chat about what the absolute trolliest item is going to be here in this race. At the 3 p.m. race, it was the bow. I will not spoil anything more than that in case anyone wants to go back and watch that race who hasn't yet.
I mean, as long as that troll item is on the pedestal, I'm a happy camper, personally.
I think that's what everyone in the world wants right now, except 2 particular people.
It's pretty much whenever you're watching, you want the troll seat. Whenever you're playing, you want it to be nice to you. I think that's a given for fairly anything, but at least you can look back and laugh.
It's true, but then there are people who do things like, you know, Chaos Boss Shuffle, All Dungeons, Key Sanity Entrance Randomizer, who are just begging to be trolled, apparently.
We call them masochists.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Thalane only a couple seconds behind, but even a little bit more picking up that magic, but he should be able to catch up fairly soon, depending on RNG. But otherwise, it's a pretty clean escape so far, I'd say.
Yeah, runners, as always, are going to be looking for some bomb drops so they can check the back of Escape on this trip through.
Instead, they'll find a key to the Dark Palace, so there's their first key sanity bit.
Goomba passing up on the full magic refill there is hyper-focused on getting out of Escape as quickly as possible.
I mean, if Zelda's got an item that uses magic, Blaine may have made the right play, but it's going to be a hammer instead, so that's great for them. It opens up a lot.
Yeah, that's an exciting seed early on to get 1/3 of our Dark World access already.
A little trouble with the hammer there on Blaine's side, but no big deal.
I was going to say, yeah, putting his to use to take out a couple of guards quickly to try and get those bomb drops.
Even chat's waiting for those bombs.
It's funny how chat likes the pedestal trolls, but not the unlucky drop trolls. There are certain trolls that we like and others that we don't.
There's some that making an exciting seed, and then some you can just feel the pain of the runner. And both the runners finishing up getting into the sewers. Or rather the back Hyrule Castle, whichever you want to call it. Though I can't imagine why there's a toilet or a route to the toilet behind the throne. Never understood that.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things going on in Hyrule, and there's a bomb drop for Thalane. 4, in fact.
Oh, he'll love those.
I'm always more confused by the fact that this king rules over about 12 subjects all told, but has an infinite supply of palace guards.
Where do you think all the subjects went?
I guess that's fair.
Poor Goomba, he's gonna have to come back to check those chests on the side.
So definitely gonna hope there's nothing too exciting there that he is missing out on. Let's see what Thalane has for us.
That's another Dark Palace key, some bling, and oh, those are power gloves.
Oh, that is the worst possible thing that could be in there for Goomba. Because to get those gloves, he's going to have to run all the way back through the escape sequence now.
Unless somehow he can find the other set of gloves, that would be Thalane's mitts. Yeah,
Yeah.
And for those who missed it the first time, there's just a little bit of love at the sanctuary.
And now that hammer sort of spells bad news for Goomba, because that makes it more likely that the hammer is leading us to our Dark World access, and the mitts sort of come well later in the game, so it's more likely that he's going to have to make that run back through the escape sequence.
I just hope he doesn't last location it. And that was a key for Skull Woods picked up in the mushroom spot, I believe, over in the Lost Woods. And they're both, I think they're synced. Look at that. Alright, not anymore.
Not excited about the compass, to no one's surprise.
So that makes, I believe, 2 Dark Palace keys, 1 Skull Woods keys. Yeah, and I think those are the only sets we've seen. I'm sure chat will correct me if I'm wrong. No, there was one for Hyrule Castle.
Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately we do not have the key sanity tracker set up, so we will have to keep track of that ourselves, and we'll do our best to keep track of all of those and keep you informed, chat. So Goomba is going to have to run down and buy some bombs here, just finding arrows in the back of the tavern, but then we'll be able to check out everything in Blind's hut and the well.
Speaking of, first we got a red rupee. That's a lot of love. That is another key to the Dark Palace, so that's 3, and another heart container. Meanwhile, Goomba's checking the chickens, and that's a map for Thieves Town, while Thalane just picks up a little bit more money in the back of Blind's hut. Nothing special under Karikara so far. Just some money, some cat. Oh, never mind. There's a key. The 4th key to Dark Palace.
Well, at least we're getting clear signals from the seed. Oh, and the moon pearl.
And the big key of Dark Palace, so it's pretty clear where they need to go, like you were saying.
And
Poor
the moon
Goomba.
pearl that early, yeah, just exacerbates that problem for Goomba, that Thalane now has Dark World access already, and Goomba is going to have to go back for that glove.
Well, he's got the bombs he needs now, so it's just a matter of determining on his routing when he's going to go back.
Yeah, it's just not a location that you want to go to because it's such a long trip for those 3 chests only. I mean, he's almost certainly going to do South Shore and all of the eastern area before he heads back there. Let's sort of hope for his sake that he doesn't find the lamp, because that would lead him up to Death Mountain.
Library has just a little love, but yeah, I agree with that. That would be, I don't want to say a red herring, but it would definitely lead him away from a vital item that he absolutely needs.
Meanwhile, Thalane is going to YOLO the race game here.
And only find some sticks. Doesn't
Yeah,
look
far
like
more.
it was too heavy.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say far more common for runners to just head toward the item in the race game in Key Sanity, since there are so many more items that might be helpful, small keys and whatnot.
Well, Goomba's doing the same route, complete with saving and quitting. Thalane heading straight to the Dark World. And you know, possibly Hive Cave.
So yeah, we are going to see this divergence between the 2 runners, unfortunately, because Goomba has not found that glove yet.
Sticks an aqueduct and a map for the Tower of Hera so far in Hype Cave. That is 3 red rupees and 10 sticks. What do you think about that Hype Cave?
I'm debating between 0 and 1. I'll call it 0.5 out of 10.
I think I have to agree with you, just for the fact that it's like, okay, you've got another one, and another one, and another one, and a switch. Ooh, and I just missed where the 5 and 6 crystals were. I think one was in Skull Woods.
Yes, and the other was Swamp Palace.
Got it.
Swamp and Skull is our 5-6 crystals today. And Thalane is gonna follow the Seed's advice, it looks like. This seems to be why he went into the Dark World so early, as all of those early Palace of Darkness keys really were pointing us over in the pod direction. So he's gonna check out some of these East Side Dark World checks and probably dip into pod very quickly.
Goomba visiting an old man in the desert and only finding 20 bucks for his troubles.
Agina never gets any visitors, and when they show up, they just take all his money.
Mm-hmm. And hey, look! Yet another
Holy.
key for the Dark Palace.
5 pod small keys. We found 1 other small key that didn't go to Palace of Darkness.
Even if Goomba doesn't go to Dark World, he has to be able to read that, but it's just a matter of he's hoping he can find what he needs. It looks like maybe in Sahasrara's hut. Green Pendant and Ice Palace. Ooh, okay, so Big Key of Misery Mire and Fairy in a Bottle over in that, I'm not even trying again.
So yeah, Goomba will head into Eastern Palace. After this, he will probably think about heading back into Escape. We'll likely see Mini Moldorm Cave and Ice Rod Cave before that, though. I mean, the good news for Goomba is that these are checks that Thalane is almost certainly going to make at some point in the near future anyway. And meanwhile, Thalane got stalled out there in Palace of Darkness since it is bow-locked.
So for all we know, one of those Goomba checks is going to be that bow, because it still has to be fairly early on with all that pointing. I cannot think the seed quite troll like that and have it locked behind in a few other dungeons. I'd be laughing my butt off, but...
Yeah, chat pointed out that I'm being as ridiculous as Thalane was, and I think that's why we saw Thalane sort of pause for a moment on his save and quit screen. This is key sanity. You have keys already. You don't need to find keys in a palace.
And Thalane taking his treasures from the back of the hut.
Thalane is way better at this game than I am, so if he forgot it was key sanity, I don't feel so bad about doing it myself.
Unfortunately for both of you and chat, I'm the kind of person who believes about anything anyone says, so if you tell me it's something, I'm going to believe it until I have that moment of, wait, what? And the lantern for Goomba. What were you saying about Death Mountain?
I mean, so it's only, what, 3 checks up there? 2 checks, because he can't actually get up on top of Spectacle Rock. But yeah, that might lead him up Death Mountain instead of dipping back into the sewers, unfortunately. Oh, that's right, he doesn't have the glove. He can't get up Death Mountain. Whew, okay. He's no less likely to go back into Escape, which we know is the right move for him. So yeah, there was a chance that Thalane just really didn't want to open the middle door, which sometimes you'll avoid in Key Sanity because, you know, you don't want to use up pod keys if you don't have to, but with 5 of them, you know, you can hammer yump to save 1 easily. So this was definitely just a brain fart on Thalane's part for that save and quit before.
Unless Goomba can find the bow or some other really good item, I'm gonna still put Thalane in the lead here. Just for the fact that he got that mitt, he's got that Palace of Darkness. The only thing we don't know is whether or not it's a crystal, because I don't believe we've seen a map check on Dark World yet.
Yeah, Goomba's going to lose the time of walking back through Escape. Thalane is going to lose the time of walking back to Pod that he just did, but Thalane just having the knowledge and being able to route more efficiently here, I think is going to keep him a little bit in the lead right now. Was that Bombos in Misery Mire?
Bombos is in Misery Mire, yes. And is that the Canis Samaria for Goomba?
And the Thieves' Town small key as well, which is definitely good to find, especially when you have the hammer this early. Once he gets into the Dark World, he can full clear that dungeon now. Oh wait, sorry, nope, needs the big key. But we'll be able to open up that big chest whenever he gets to the back of Thieves' Town.
Definitely, and I know I said I put Thalane in the lead, but this is still very much anyone's game with how random it is designed to be, so...
Absolutely, there's so much left to play in Key Sanity that there's a whole lot of run left.
You basically don't know until it's go mode who's in the lead. Ice Cave is just going to give us $50 today, nothing too big.
Yep, and I think this will lead Goomba back to the back of Escape. Oh, no, maybe he's going to chase down this bottle to see Sick Kid.
Small key for Turtle Rock on Thalane's side. And that is the Mirror and Palace of Darkness.
That's definitely going to help Thalane, because he can head out of Palace of Darkness and go into Eastern right away if he wants to, pick up that lamp, and then head back through his portal to see some more of Pod if he wants to, although he is still short that bow to actually finish it. So lamp doesn't actually help him here just yet.
And it looks like the sick kid today has for whatever reason, a strange key for Ice Palace, but Thalane just picked a big key for, was that Skullwoods?
I did not see what that one was, unfortunately.
I saw an S and I saw a big key. Thank you, chat. They are confirming it was for Skull. Oh, and Goomba is going into escape now, so he won't be too far behind now, but he's going to feel bad when he finds those gloves.
That was the Hera Big Key, also in Eastern Palace, that I'm not sure we saw before, so Goomba will have that one as well. Shoutouts, by the way, to our tracker, Dimensive, who is one of the people who noticed that Skullwood's Big Key for us in chat.
And there goes Goomba, picking up what he left behind. And again, kind of like what chat was saying, he had no choice in logic. He did just, the RNG just didn't give him the bombs he needed to clear it in the first go. And that happens sometimes, it stinks, but...
Yeah, and he was definitely paying close attention to the logic there. And as soon as he reached the point where he had nothing else to do, he was going to go back to Backup Escape, where you might normally think about heading out of Ice Rod Cave and, you know, maybe fake flippering or something like that. Goomba was definitely not interested in that. He was going to stick close to the logic to see exactly when he had to go back into that Backup Escape.
His turn for the utterly lack of hype cave. When did you pick up Master Sword? Did I miss that?
Master Sword was in Dark Maze in Pod, I believe.
Got it. Okay. I must have been just looking at something else. Thank you.
I'm not sure we would have actually seen the Master Sword found either if it was in one of the dark rooms.
Goomba just picking up a little bit of fruit punch there, just in case. You never know. And it looks like Thalane is checking lumberjacks. And I didn't quite catch what that was. I just caught a glimpse of red. It's a ruby.
Yeah, Goomba is definitely picking up this potion for the potion glitch in Pod, which Thalane did not do. So there are those two checks on the right-hand side, which Thalane has not seen. So that is a small advantage that Goomba will have by having checked more things by going to Pod. He will have a bottle with a potion in it when he gets there. And we'll find his 5th Pod small key right now.
Meanwhile, Thalane is helping an old man cross the cave. So what does the old man have for us today out of his retirement fund? Half magic.
Not bad, definitely convenient to get early on.
Goomba is going to finish off Palace of Darkness like chat's known and like you noted. No detours. And Thalane's got a bit of Death Mountain to observe.
Yeah, with the mirror he can head, and the hammer he can head across the top and get over into East Death Mountain and check out Paradox Cave and Spiral Cave, finding Ether in the Spectacle Rock Cave, and unique items in the sewers. When Goomba sees that one, I think he's going to be annoyed. It's not even a hint about the gloves, but hints about the sewers, I think, are just going to pour salt in the wound.
Not too much on top of Spectacle Rock up there, but Thalane is going into Tower of Hera.
Yeah, we do have the big key for this one, not the small key, so if there's anything interesting in the basement, Thalane will have to come back.
I apologize if you hear that in the background. Someone wants to chime in with the commentary.
Probably complaining about the lack of Pug Sprite.
And were those silvers in Tower of Hera?
Those were silvers in the Tower of Hera, so as soon as we find the bow, we will be very good at shooting things.
Compass of Swamp Palace. Not that that's really useful. And in the big chest, it's just 20 bucks. Chat, I am sorry.
So we are going to see Goomba setting up the potion glitch here. All you do is drink a potion while walking left, and then don't go too far to the left as you walk through that doorway. Oh, and that did not quite work.
Oof.
I wonder if Goomba maybe didn't move far enough to the right. The way that glitch is supposed to work is that it sort of messes with the camera a little bit, and then you can scroll the mimics off screen. And because of something that I am told is called Super Tile, the game thinks that's close enough to you having killed everything to open.
And it looks like the tower was just a pendant for us today.
So Haiku Type in chat is telling me that you need to wait till the bomb explosion is done before you drink the potion, and that was the issue there for Goomba.
Lane is taking his peek into Spiral Cave, unfortunately without boots, so you get to have a very long walk, but you're here anyway, so you may as well. And that is the Fire Rod.
That's definitely nice. The lane will be able to full clear Skull Woods when.
And what's nice about that is he has the half magic already. Sorry,
Yeah.
I think I talked over you at the end there.
Oh, no, that's all right. I was just thinking, yeah, Thalane has not done any Village of Outcasts or sort of Western Dark World yet. That Fire Rod definitely opens up some possibilities for Skull Woods once he gets there, which we know is one of our 5-6 crystals today, so he will likely be excited about that one.
Alright, getting a red meringue. And it looks like on his way to Paradox Cave, while Goomba picks up his Master Sword. Thankfully, with his lantern, we can actually see the items.
All right, so Death is Death Mountain rather a big letdown this seed. That's definitely going to open up a window for Goomba if he puts off those checks for a while in favor of some other things. That could definitely let him pick up some time. But of course, as I say that, he is headed straight toward Death Mountain right now. He did just grab his mirror out of Palace of Darkness, so he'll be able to follow that same route up to Tower of Hera. And does have the big key there as well, so we will likely see him following in Thalane's footsteps for quite a while, as Thalane is going to turn in the only thing we found up on Death Mountain, which is the mushroom right here. I guess the fire rod was up there. That's kind of helpful, I guess.
Just a little. And half magic. Which isn't so much useful, but it's nice to have.
That map of Ganon's tower, on the other hand, totally useless. And yeah, a hard reset there from Thalane, which will, rather than saving and quitting, that means he still has the mushroom in his inventory, and we'll be able to use the mushroom to do fake powder at such time as he finds that red cane.
And there's Goomba with the sewer hint.
And so Thalane is heading into the Dark World above Kakariko, and we will probably see a fair bit of Skull Woods. Not a whole lot we can do in Thieves Town at the moment. We can check the front 4 chests, but no more until we find that big key.
Yeah, for all we know, one of the big keys in there. Or the big key is in one of there.
Yeah, I think at this point Thalane is probably opting for doing all these Village of Outcast checks, and then maybe heading down through Stumpy and Cave 45, and then checking the Light World South Shore that he hasn't done yet at that point. And if he finds Mitts along the way, then he can do the whole Smith's chain and everything along the same route.
Well, so far, just a bloomerang, while Goomba picks up his silvers.
And also that hint telling them not to worry about the basement of Tower of Hera, which is always nice to get.
That's a big key, but not the one we wanted for Thalane. He's got it for Turtle Rock now.
Yeah, and unclear how important that big key is going to be. We've seen very little information about crystals and pendants so far. We've just picked up a little bit from our NPCs, but we really haven't gotten any map checks from our runners yet.
Well, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm having a moment. Key Sanity, it wouldn't show unless they had the map, or am I thinking of another setting?
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, they've just gotten very few maps to even be able to look at, so
Okay.
Not really worth it for them yet to take a look at that. I'm not actually sure if they've gotten any.
No, they've gotten a couple. Don't ask me to name them, but I do recall seeing a couple.
Goomba narrowly avoiding getting trolled there.
Keeping cool, though. I always thought of Goombas as angry, but this one's got his chill on.
Maybe Goombas are just triggered by seeing Mario, so as long as Mario's not around, he's fine. That explains why Thalane was warming up with some Super Mario World before, just trying to get in his opponent's head.
There you go. Looks like Thalane just gonna go ahead and fight him off. And what does the moth have for us today? That's a key to the mire, and a crystal, which we knew.
Yeah, very nice moth fight from Thalane there. None of that pesky hitting him into the spikes to waste the damage. As Goomba finds his fire rod, and I suspect he will be in Mothula's room pretty soon.
Yeah, he's just gonna check his version of Paradox Cave, get the same items. And that's another bottle in Skullwoods on Thalane's side, so that makes 3 known locations, I believe.
So Goomba finishing off his underwhelming Paradox Cave there. We'll see how he feels about that mushroom, or if he heads over to the Village of Outcast Skullwoods area immediately. Yeah, changed his mind about where he wants to start there.
Looks like Lane is headed to C-shape room there. And what's it got for us today? Little love. This is a fairly healthy seed. And there's a zip into Thieves Town.
Yep. Again, just the front 4 chests here. I was about to say it's not too uncommon to see runners finishing a seed on 9 hearts, so definitely plenty of health early on right now.
And there is the flute for Thalane. So he's got a little bit of quick travel now.
Definitely a convenient place to find that flute. That opens up some more options for us. We can get into Desert Palace now and all of the items in the Mire area. And of course the quick travel around Hyrule is always convenient.
Pretty amusing that he finds it where the duck statue is normally. So, good timing. Not much else, though.
Any place in the village area is a good place to find the flute.
Alright, chat, get your salutes out.
Alright, had to be silent for the Swag Duck National Anthem there. But yes, chat again correcting me. No myths yet, so we can't actually get into the Mire area or mirror our way into Desert. So the flute really is just for convenience at this point, no actual progression yet.
Well, all it means is the duck is running amok. And that's a small key for Turtle Rock on Thalane in the treasure chest game. And that is blue mail for Thalane. Unfortunately, Chat Doggo has gotten himself contented for now. He is lying down on a blanket, but he'll probably pipe up later when someone else gets back. Even he knows to be quiet for the national anthem.
So yeah, Thalane is going to head through the south side of Dark World at this point, which should lead him back in the direction of South Shore type of things. Your mini Moldorm Cave and Ice Rod Cave. He might think about fake flippering at this point. If he is not sure where else to go, or just wants to get some of those water checks out of the way right now.
Shovel Game doesn't have much for us today, just some money and 10 sticks.
Trying to think what else is even open to our runners at this point. Can't really go any further into Pod, logically at least. Both of our runners could go back with a potion and try that glitch again. So we're going to have to find some progression pretty soon, because we're running out of stuff other than that stuff in the upper left, Zora and Catfish. So we'll see if the lane just heads straight up to Zora. We got Cave 45 here, because there's always that trade-off between you really want to check Catfish with everything else up there, but that doesn't really work well if you're fake flippering.
Nothing in K45, unfortunately. But yeah, I agree. At this point, I mean, and again, I'm nowhere near as experienced as our runners right now, but I would probably head to Zora just because you have the cash, and oh, Goomba, at least you have a fairy, buddy.
Of course, one fire rod shot from death there from Mothula, but Goomba does get through the fight and finds that Misery Mire small key.
And gets his 5/6 crystal. Now, do you recognize a sprite?
I am not sure what that sprite is. Isn't that, no, I was going to say, that's not the same one that PKR uses.
The only reason I
yeah,
ask is because I was looking at the death sprite and I'm like, that's strange. Chat is calling it Toho or Marisa. And there's the lane's cane.
Yeah, sorry, I'm an old man. I don't get all these anime references. So yeah, Thalane's got, in logic, Zora, Catfish, and Graveyard Ledge. I think he's probably trying to avoid Graveyard Ledge until he can route in King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks at the same time. It's always sort of annoying to go up there for just one check if you can help it, so I think we'll definitely see something in the northeast corner of the world very soon.
Neither of them have checked Toba, right? Because that's a route. That's routing all the way to the fish stuff. So there's another option.
Yes, but that one is not in logic without the flippers, though, so that wouldn't be our logical progression, at least.
Fair. And it looks like there is just a bug net on the desert ledge.
So this gives us a little bit better picture of how close these two runners are at this point, because now Thalane has done all of those checks in the southern part of the light world that Goomba had done before. So we see them a lot more even now. And we see Goomba's just these last few checks in Thieves Town behind where Thalane is right, right now. Excuse me.
Is Link going to Aga?
Did we see what was on the lumberjack ledge? Was that actually Hookshot? Oh no, that's right. It's Key Sanity. There are items in Aga Tower.
Another salute on the duck. Alright, well let's see. Oh, there's a tempered sword. That's not quite what we wanted, but it's nice to see.
My Key Sanity brain is not turned on today. Alright, so from the looks of things, Thalane is going to head back through the Dark World portal right here, probably head across the north side of the Dark World, hit that Graveyard Ledge check, and I would expect we'll see this bomb jump to set up a fake flipper across the north side of Dark World, which will lead into Catfish then.
Now I'm just hoping for the Catfish to have a single rupee.
I mean, there's got to be progression somewhere. Because we've cleared out all of the dungeons that we can even get into at this point. Finally, a map check. We see green pendant at Ice Palace, which we knew, and then regular crystals in Misery Mire and Thieves Town. So yeah, the fake flipper across the north side is not in logic, but our runners do have logical access to the northeast part of Dark World anyway, so it's still something they could do just for the convenience of the routing.
I think the dog agrees with you.
Then I must be doing something right.
And there's Graveyard Ledge. Alright, chat, raise your hands. Who thinks this is our progression item? Need a hook shot up. Hey! Whoever guessed, there you go. Those are the Titan's mitts.
So now that opens up all those lovely checks in Misery Mire. Thalane can head straight down to King's Tomb. Oh no, still doesn't have the boots, never mind. Easier to get out of King's Tomb. Looks like he might be thinking about doing Catfish and Zora while he's up here anyway. Yep, we'll see this bomb jump-ish thing. This fake flipper setup. First try every time.
Alright, Catfish, what you got? Just some sticks. The lane isn't gonna stay there for that. heading into the deep end of the pool a little bit, but we'll see if it's a vanilla flippers or if he's going to be doing that for a while longer.
Yeah, I always assume Zora is going to have absolute garbage for us.
Oof. Well, he's got some fashion today. Not the red mail, but a nice, stunning cape. So that puts bumper ledge in logic, right? Or am I... No, you...
Yes, you can do bumper ledge. I believe they does not logically require the hook shot for that. Also Spike Cave, now that we have an invincibility item.
Oh yeah, and that half magic is excellent too. Goomba fairly close in so much as he's about to pick up his Titan mitts a lot faster than the time between gloves.
Yeah, definitely closer. So our runners do have the Misery Mire big key and one small key to help out with the routing, and we see now that Ether is the medallion to get us into that dungeon. Unfortunately, we don't have any way to get across that first gap, so... Unless, of course, we find the hookshot. Ooh, there's the Ice Rod. This is a good, annoying item hunt out of the way.
That is one of the required items with Turtle Rock being a crystal, so it's something that they definitely need to find sooner or later, and I'm sure they're glad that it was sooner. Or thalane is, rather.
So checking up on Turtle Rock, our runners do have the Turtle Rock big key. I have marked down that Thalane has 2 Turtle Rock small keys. I'm not sure if Goomba has both of those or not. I might have just lost track of Goomba going over the same ground that that Thalane already has. So there definitely is some stuff we could do in Turtle Rock if we can get into it, which is a 1 in 3 chance at this point. So to take stock, since our runners have sort of converged on the same route, although they went different ways to get there, Goomba's about 2.5 minutes behind Thalane right now, which is definitely still within striking distance, as we see a small key
and the small palace big key, sorry to interrupt, that is going to be required the big red bomb.
Yeah, that's an interesting hint, because that is a very long fetch quest that we might or might not actually need to do.
Swamp Palace is a crystal, though.
Yes, but the big key not required to clear Small Palace, really just required for that big chest.
True, true. I was thinking, I got that mixed up for a second.
So the Swamp Palace big key is locked behind Swamp Palace itself. It's interesting.
Chat pointing out that Swamp Palace is a red crystal, so yeah, I got my bits confused there, so you do have to beat it, and then you can get the big chest if you still need it. Thank you, chat.
So Thalane is going to keep following the mitts. We will now see the Smith's chain, and with that flute, a fairly fast turn-in of the purple chest as well.
Goomba picks up his ice rod.
And yeah, just to circle back to Desert Palace, which Thalane dipped his toes into, and Goomba's doing right now, there is a small key on that torch, so we will not see if that thing is useful until after we find the boots, unfortunately.
It's definitely turning out to be a seed where you have to use your head and look, and I like that. And Thalane's getting the Quake medallion there.
So now, much better chance that we can get into Turtle Rock. We also know where Bombos is. It's locked in Misery Mire, so Yeah, definitely East Death Mountain seems to be where our runners are going to want to go next, since with the mitts they can now do the Dark East side and probably do a fair bit in Turtle Rock. And there is another Turtle Rock small key. Thalane is almost certainly headed up there soon.
Goomba did just grab the map to Hyrule Castle, but it's not too terribly required.
Gotta say, as linear as this seed is turning into right now, that's really not a good sign for Goomba, because he's going to need to find some place to gain some time on Thalane, either in execution or routing. And it seems like the routing is not really an option, since the seed is making you follow a very strict path.
Did we get a glimpse at our Turtle Rock medallion yet?
We have not seen the medallion at all, because we have not been able to get to the Dark World on East Death Mountain yet. But once again, I think we're at the point where there is just nothing else for our runners to check. So we almost have to be able to get into Turtle Rock and be able to check it here, because I'm not sure what else they could do in logic.
So basically, in here we need a book, we need a hook shot, or a bow, or some flippers. And those are what we are looking to progress, unless I am somehow mistaken. But luckily, Turtle Rock was ether, so no big deal.
Yep, and Thalane opening this up, I expect we'll see him head over to Super Bunny Cave and see if there are any items in there. Nope, he's just going to head straight into Turtle Rock. I guess he has everything he needs for Turtle Rock itself, so I guess no real reason to check that before he comes in here.
Glove is above the pose. Nice to know, even though we have it now. Thank you, game.
Another hint specially tailored to troll Goomba, I think. I guess the only benefit of checking Super Bunny first is if you find the fourth Turtle Rock small key there, after you've already dipped very far into Turtle Rock, you'll be very sad. But probably Thalane is planning on just stealing the Pokey key and skipping the lava chest to finish off Turtle Rock right now, is my guess.
There's our hook shot. Right at Turtle Rock.
So there's some important progression for us.
It looks like Goomba is following the lead, heading right into Turtle Rock too.
Yeah, Thalane is opting not to mirror out to check the 4 chests in Hookshot Cave right now.
No, he wants to clear Turtle Rock as much as he can first. And he gets a big key of Desert Palace for it.
There is, I think, definitely something that Thalane can do, though. If he mirrors from the Mimic Ledge and leaves the portal there, yeah, he is going to skip Lava Chest here. If he mirrors out of there, he can go back and check Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny by heading into the portal at the bottom of East Death Mountain. And I was, nope, never mind. I was about to say save his portal to get back into Turtle Rock, but nope, that doesn't work.
You almost had it.
Yeah, he's really just gambling that Lava Chest doesn't have anything interesting for him, or at least that he can just come back to it later at an appropriate time. But if there is something interesting in there, this might come back to bite him a little bit.
Now, does he have the big key for Turtle Rock yet?
Yes, both our runners have that Turtle Rock big key, so...
So he could hypothetically go for Trinix.
Yes, I think that's his plan, is he's going to clear everything except that Lava Chest, because he's got 3 small keys and the big key. But if that 4th Turtle Rock key is in Hookshot Cave, and he could have mirrored out and gotten it, that's a feels bad man for sure. And the boots in Mimic
Feels
Cave,
good, man.
That feels good, man.
Goomba grabbing his hook shot. Just some bombs in the big chest, no big deal.
So we do see on our screen the one thing that compasses do in Key Sanity mode, which is that 5 out of 12 tells us, well now 6 out of 12, that Thalane has checked half the chests here in Turtle Rock. Again though, we're not going to get all 12 because that lava chest is still lingering. Goomba making the same gamble though, is choosing to just go ahead into Turtle Rock without mirroring back out.
Now remind me, because I'm drawing a blank, is it possible that the key needed to get Lava Chest is in the key? Is in the chest, rather?
Yes, I believe that is possible, since you can always trade a key for a key and that will not mess with the logic.
Chat was just talking about Bo, and we just picked it up on Thalane's side.
Bo in its quote-unquote vanilla location. I've seen that on Laser Bridge so many times in the last week even of this league, let alone the entire league.
He also does pick up a key, small key to Skullwoods. Yeah, Turtle Rock was definitely the play with all these lovely items in there. Just opens up basically everything but the flippers. Or everything but Hobo, I'd say, what requires the flippers. And Swamp and Mire, I believe, both need them as well.
Ice Palace logically requires them. We can certainly fake Flipper in there without too much trouble, but...
Thankfully, Ice Palace is just dependent, so we might not need to go there at all.
So Thalane getting through those first 2 phases of Trinex very easily.
Goomba about to pick up his stylish footwear. Thalane kind of dancing along with the music and his sword there. And gets a nice blue cane for his troubles.
So let's take stock again of where our runners are. Thalane's on Thalane's side, we had the sword spin after beating Trinex at about 104.39. So we'll compare to where Goomba is at the same point.
Matt Desert Palace and Thalane's chest. Map of Eastern Palace, so we can tell which of those has the crystal and which of those has the pendant. But overall, nothing much in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, still 2 checks in Super Bunny. And again, a reminder, both of our runners are pretty much on the same path at this point. The only real divergence is that Thalane took that quick dip into Aga Tower, which is where he found that tempered sword, which will definitely be an advantage if we do not find the 4th sword before the Ganon fight.
He does get a shield. And yes, chat, you can get a shout out for all the single arrows.
If you like it, then you should have put a bow on it. I don't know.
I mean, you could tie ribbon to arrows. Some people do that. Again, through Spike Cave with the use of that Kena, I can never pronounce it properly, but unfortunately, there's really nothing in there.
Goomba opting for hammer strats, another spot that we see the tempered sword advantage coming out nicely for Thalane. Did not have to menu his way through the Trinex fight.
And now he's able to make his check of King's Tomb. Just makes me hungry, because now I want blueberries.
So some questions in chat. Yeah, let's take stock of what they need. So yeah, we need the Ganon's Tower Big Key. We need flippers, definitely. And we are still unsure of where our last... Oh no, I see we did get a map check when I wasn't looking. We do not have the Eastern Palace Big Key, which is one of our crystals today, and we are missing the Swamp Palace Small Key as well to actually get into that dungeon, as well as the Thieves' Town Big to get back into the back of it. But Thalane is going to take his now Shiny Boots and Hookshot and head to Misery Mire, which is now full clearable since we do have our way past the entrance. Yeah, it seems like the lane is opening up a little bit more of a lead. Some of that was definitely the slower Trinex fight that Goomba was forced into, but he was about 3+ minutes behind where Thalane was at the end of that Turtle Rock trip.
And it is intimidating, especially like you were commenting how linear the seed is, and if it keeps being that way, then it's going to be extremely hard for Goomba to make up that time. But if it suddenly opens up here, as we're heading probably towards the 3rd act, I'd say, then he might have the time.
Yeah, there definitely are options. I mean, when you're on the hunt for a particular big key, if we get to the point where our runners are deciding, you know, should I be dipping Ice Palace or Desert Palace, which one should I go to first? You know, there are always options where you might just guess right over your opponent and get ahead. And there's always the chance that Ganon's Tower basement will come into play as well to look for that GT big key, which, as we've seen in many races, gives plenty of time to catch up. As we see, yeah, Goomba might be feeling behind and has decided to gamble a little bit, head directly back to Mire area right away. Oh, and is going to go check out the torch in Desert Palace on his way into Misery Mire.
Thalane, just sorry to interrupt, Thalane did just grab Powder and Butter Sword, so that's our last sword.
That's actually good news for Goomba, I think, because that means he will find Tempered in that chest. And that appeared to be a vanilla Desert Palace key there. And the Eastern Palace big key is there in Misery Mire.
So that can be cleaned up at least.
Thalane, knowing there is nothing particularly useful on the left side of Misery Mire in the fire-locked portion, just bombos and some bombs, I believe. And since we know we don't need bombos for any particular reason, he will definitely skip that one. It's not even that useful in the Cold Stare fight, since we have half magic. And Thalane, meanwhile, gets the spooky action glitch here in Misery Mire, hitting those switches from about half a screen away. Because reasons.
Cause swag. Alright, chat, keep your eye on this fight, it'll go quick. Lincoln, you missed it. Thalane gets an upgraded shield for his troubles and also a nice new crystal. Let's see if Goomba's play was the right one. Because I think Thalane's going to be right on his tail.
Yeah, it's unlikely to make too much difference which one our runners do first, if they go Mire and then Desert, or Desert then Mire. Because I don't think there's anything our runners could find to make either one significantly faster at this point. They already have silver arrows and the bow, which is all they need to make these boss fights as fast as possible. I mean, I guess technically the butter sword Vitreous fight can be faster than silver arrows, from what I'm told, but
I don't think he even used the sword on them.
Yeah, silver arrows is definitely the safer strat. I think maybe butter saves you a few frames, but not much.
No, I believe that was a heart container on the Lamoas, and Goomba picks up his desert crystal. Both of them hoping that this is the dungeon that has the flippers.
Yeah, we are still missing two key aspects of that Swamp Palace entry. The small key and the flippers, and that Thieves Town big key still at large. At least, though, our runners know they shouldn't be worried about dipping into Ice Palace, as that would be out of logic, or the pedestal just yet.
Well, it's out of logic, and it also... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, we do still have King Helmasaur that our runners could access now, as a possibility.
I was going to say that Ice Palace is a pendant, so not too high on the priority list either, unless they run out of places. What I would love to see is a pedestal check, but neither of them have the book.
Yeah, I was going to say, they might be thinking about, should I dip into Ice Palace to go looking for some of those keys that we're still missing, but they're not going to be thinking that until it's actually in logic with the flippers, so no worries about it yet.
Chat, do not ruin my dreams. Do not say pet is dead until the fat lady sings. Or in this case, the fat pig.
Swamp small key on the pedestal would be truly incredible, so... I do love this hookshot strat to get this chest in the bridge.
Oh, just
room
going
on your
across
way
the bridge?
across. Yeah.
Yeah, screw walking. I'll just hook over. It looks like Lane's just going to go ahead and finish up Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, our runners did leave behind the 2 items on the right-hand side, which were not in logic yet. I hope for Goomba's sake that there's nothing there, because if there was, and he could have gotten to it by executing the potion glitch earlier, that will be another tilter for him.
Yeah. And for the record, when I said Palace of Darkness, I meant Eastern Palace, clearly.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, they'll do both, probably, while they're here. I see we've reached the traditional point in a race of any sort, especially Key Sanity, where chat figures out the longest troll item chain that's left in the game that could lead to pedestal.
This is my favorite part. Sadly, it's not going to be a Swamp Palace key, because we just found that in Eastern Palace Big Chest.
So that will probably preempt the dip back into Palace of Darkness as well, since we can now get into that Swamp Palace, which is a crystal, and of course chock full of items. Oh, wait, no, we can't get into Swamp. Flippers.
Yep. Meanwhile, I've got something in my eye. Totally missed that Goomba fight, but he has finished up Misery Mire.
We will see a similarly quick Armos fight with the silver arrows.
He gives him the point, and he also gets the book, so we can get a pedestal check.
That also opens up our tablets as well.
Mm-hmm.
That ether tablet is annoyingly isolated at this point in the run.
Alright, looks like he is going to go for Palace of Darkness as well.
So yeah, we'll see what Goomba left behind on the right-hand side here. As he will also flute over to 5. Again, following right in Thalane's footsteps. There's just not any place else to go but this Eastern pod check. So yeah, with that GT Big Key still at large, it's interesting that our runners did not have to check the right side, or the left side of Mire, which means they didn't get to see that hint on the left side of Mire either.
They may be banking on it being useless, or not, or maybe something they've already progressed through.
Yeah, but since there is a guaranteed GT Big Key hint,
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be unfortunate to skip that one.
We did get a small key for the tower.
Yes, I was going to say, and a small key for the Hera basement as well, but we saw a hint that says that that's no good, so no worries about that particular fetch quest. Thalane just demolishing those poor turtles.
Would you say he showed them it's hammer time?
I think he did.
I'm sorry, I'll stop.
Somehow I don't believe it.
I'll stop for at least 5 minutes.
Alright, I'll take what I can get.
So I should have saved that pun for Thalane with how easily he's moving through this guy. Still no flippers, but he gets that pendant.
Yeah, so we are down to the tablets for our progression. So I would think Thalane is probably going to head over toward the Bombos tablet first, since if you find the flippers there,
He doesn't
you can
have
just run
Bombos.
straight to Swamp.
I'm thinking that you actually need the medallion to do it. I'm like, wait a minute, sorry.
Oh, nope, he's going to prove me wrong. He's going to check Ether first. I guess just to guarantee that after he checks Bombos, he will have those flippers to get into Swamp. Or I guess not necessarily. We could also find the Thieves Town Big Key, and then find the flippers somewhere in the back of Thieves Town.
Either way, the choices are dwindling. What have we got today? Hey, we got them flippers!
Okay. For a second I thought Thalane was heading toward Ice Palace, but no, he's just going to take care of these flippers checks, since they are now in Logic. And he was here before in the Dark World, so could not fake flipper his way into the Waterfall Cave. Another GT small key, and a big key to Thieves Town.
Do we have big key for Swamp Palace?
We have the small key for Swamp, and we know where the big key for Swamp is. It's behind those red crystals inside the pyramid.
Right, yeah. So does that make it no mode? Because we don't quite have all of them.
Yeah, we are in GT big key mode only at this point.
Okay, thank you, chat. I'm like, okay, what are we missing? What are we missing?
Yeah, so Thalane will definitely head straight into Swamp, get the last crystal, check this hint as well, see if that's the GT big key hint. That would be very convenient.
I would laugh if GTBK is if the big key is on pedestal. Unique item is an Eastern Palace. Pretty sure we already got that guy.
So yeah, still no GT big key hint, unfortunately, so our runners are still on the hunt for it. There's plenty to check here in Swamp. And still the possibility of some fetch quest chains happening. You've got Shovel at large. I don't think our runners have actually been to Magic Bat yet.
No, they haven't.
Speaking of Magic Bat, Goomba is going to head there right now. We found the powder very recently in Misery Mire. And Thalane could have been here since he hard reset to save the mushroom, so he could have fake powdered when he came back here a while back and chose not to. And what does Goomba find?
It's a map.
Just a map. I like this play from Thalane. He is opting out of the left side of Swamp right now because he knows that he's not going to get the Swamp Big Key until after he finishes this dungeon, so the Swamp Palace Big Chest will still be here waiting for him, so he's going to leave the left side of Swamp until then.
Yeah, just may as well. If you're going to have to double dip twice, you may as well leave it.
Oh, Goomba opting for a sequence break here. He's setting up a water walk.
Alright, well, let's see what our hobo has. Maybe he has the key. That's another Ganon's Tower small key, and that is the big key to Thieves' Town.
Yeah,
and that is Waterfall, not Hobo yet.
Yeah, so interesting. I think Goomba is probably going to follow that one before Swamp, just because, of course, not actually having the flippers, he can't get into Swamp yet.
At least it allows him to progress.
Meanwhile, a lightning-fast Argus fight there from Thalane with the Butter Sword.
Hobo just sharing his foraging of blueberries. Nothing big. Just delicious. We have seen Zora, Mr. Tanuki chat. He had, I believe, the cape.
So Goomba going to immediately find his flippers after fake flippering. Although I think with actually a water walk, that might have actually been faster. He might have made up the time that it took to set up the water walk in dashing around in the water.
Checking our second pedestal, it is another map. BK, Big Key, GTBK remains at large. News at 11.
Yeah, Goomba could theoretically make up some time if he goes to Thieves' Town right now and then gets to officially go mode Swamp, but since Thalane did not do the left side, that wouldn't even save him that much time, unfortunately, for Goomba. So we'll see these last 4 checks in Thieves' Town, and then I suspect Thalane will hit Magic Bat, and then probably go right up to Ganon's Tower after that. Does not seem like he's that interested in heading back into Swamp Palace by way of the Big Red Bomb. It's definitely a tough choice to make, though, when you're down to there are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower where the GT Big Key could be, and 3 outside of Ganon's Tower. When exactly do you go for that GT dip?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have. I know they were chat was talking about hint density in Ice Palace and chest density in Ganon's Tower, and it's really one of those judgment calls, and you've got no way of getting any idea whether those were good calls. You just have to guess and hope that you're choosing right, and that's the great thing about Rondo.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite thing about the hint system, is the fact that it means Ice Palace has 3 hints, that suddenly you have a lot more incentive to go in there in situations like this one. Yeah, nice high five from our runners here, both in Thieves' Town at the same time.
They both went up those stairs at the same time.
I feel like our runners have had this Thieves Town small key for a long time, and it's finally going to pay off here now that they finally found the big key an hour later.
It was just waiting for its big brother. Blind just has a compass. Let's see if Blind has anything. Nothing in the big chest, not surprising at this point. What advice does Blood have for us today? The weak knight is a tiny nobleman.
My issue with that pun is that it only works if it's written down, so that it looks like a wee knight. But it's fine. Who am I to argue with Blind about puns?
I've seen better. But Thalane does pick up his last bottle, and Goomba will shortly from Blind.
Nicely on script on both of those blind fights. No problem there.
And he is visiting Magic Bat. So he's gonna get his, what were those? 5 rupees, I think? Oh yeah, it was a map.
Goomba, meanwhile, heading into Swamp Palace. We'll see if he takes the gamble on the left side. This is the big choice for Thalane now, and he's headed to Mountain Cave. It seems like he might be just going straight into GT.
If it's in there, GG, guys.
Yeah, Goomba just has to hope he guesses better than Thalane does, looking for this GT big key. We cannot do the official GT guessing game since we are not sure that the GT big key is even in Ganon's tower, but feel free to get your guesses in chat, or a 0 if you would, if you think it's not in Ganon's tower at all.
And the thing is, Goomba doesn't know how far behind or ahead he is. So he's got no idea, and he may take the gamble and ignore that side of swamp just because he thinks he may be that close.
Yeah, this is where the psychology comes into play, too, because I would expect he has to feel somewhat behind, given that whole glove nonsense at the beginning. So he sort of has to do something different than Thalane did and hope that he guesses right. So he's got to figure out what did Thalane do and then do the opposite thing at some point. Here's something, by the way, that I don't think even chat has considered yet. We could find an Aga Tower key, and then the Ganon's Tower big key could be up Aga Tower halfway.
I'd accept that. 1 was 50 rupees, 2 was 5 rupees.
Or that could certainly be part of the fetch quest chain. Alright, I'm being corrected. Chat has considered that. Far be it from me to think that there was a troll that chat didn't think of. I apologize.
3 are some bombs. 4 are some bombs. 5 is 20 rupees. 6 is a little love.
Goomba also skipping the left side of swamp for now.
7 is the compass for Ganons.
I think chat's telling us that's actually 8 because there's also the torch check.
Got it, thank you. There's some more fashionable duds.
We'll call that French vanilla red mail.
Small key. Oh, there's that last small key to Dark Palace, and I officially lost count.
I think that's 14 through 17. No. Crap, no, I've lost count too. Wait, 8, 9...
13, chat is saying.
Yes, 13.
Chat, real MP... yeah, MVP.
Counting is hard.
It is, and so is acronyms.
Oh my gosh, chat's right. Thalane has the compass for Ganon's Tower. The number is right there in front of us.
You know, I noticed that and then I forgot about it. Making quick work of the knights. Missed one, but that's okay.
So here will be 15, 16, and 17.
Oh!
Oh, the big key to ice. Just toying with us.
I'm just seeing that key, and you know how they kind of have a monster face on them? That one had a troll face on it.
Yep. That could lead to a fetch quest that starts at the Ice Palace big chest. We got all sorts of options for the Ganon's Tower big key still.
Yeah. And chat, we did not get our Ganon's Tower hint. Now is Goomba going for the tower too?
Yep, he is making the percentage play, which I don't think I like, because if he just does the same thing that Thalane does all the way down the line, he's unlikely to be able to catch up. So he's just hoping that he's caught up on execution somewhere along the road, but the seed has been so linear, he can't think that he'll get a routing advantage at any point, unless he does something sort of completely out of left field, like full clear Ice Palace before you try Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, at this point, if they keep going one after the other, the only chance Goomba has is if the lane has awful boss fights, either with Troll Dorm or with Aga just messing him up with geometry. And even then, it doesn't usually last. I think the most I've seen is 5 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, there is still the choice of, if they crap out in Ganon's Tower and do not find the big key, they've got to choose between Ice and Swamp. Swamp certainly seems like the more obvious play, since there are 8 checks left to be made in there, but they are much longer checks to do, as opposed to getting the big red bomb and dipping back into Swamp. Although with the big red bomb in there, it might be about the same amount of time.
Well, if you do go for Ice, you're going to get those hints. So you may get the Ganon's hint, and it may tell you it's in Swamp, and that it may at least get you out of there and back on track.
It's true. It's always the possibility that it's that first hint in Ice Palace, and you just walk in the door and then immediately learn where the GT Big Key is. Yeah, Thalane was showing off the, if you turn on the cape and then grab the wall, it does not use any magic. This also similarly works if you turn on the cape and then just spam sword slashes, that the magic will drain very, very slowly, which often comes in handy during the Vitreous fight.
Thalane finally checking the hobo. Unfortunately, not going to get what he's after. Playing Little Diddy with the duck, though.
So Thalane opting for ice here over the Big Bomb Swamp Palace play. Again, with the added value of the hints, I think this is definitely the right play to make.
Come on, number one! Nope. Was a big key, just not the big key we wanted to know about.
That's exactly as helpful as hints have been through this entire seed.
Goomba picking up that compass for Ganon's tower, so if we lose count again, we've at least got him to back us up. Messes up the boomerang. And gets his change of clothes. Piece of hardest in Ganon's tower, you don't say!
I'd be more impressed if it said there are no pieces of heart in Ganon's tower. That's the far more unlikely thing. I'm trying to think what that pod small key says about the logic, if anything. Probably nothing, since there wasn't anything particularly interesting deep in Palace of Darkness.
I mean, it clearly wanted you to go there first thing. And what did we find in there? Just a recap.
Yeah, I don't even remember what was in there at this point. I just know that the key logic there is weird. So things like Dark Maze, there was a sword in there, and a lot of that is not in logic. Oh, that's right. Yeah, on the big chest.
Okay.
So a lot of that is not in logic until you find all 6 of the small keys. Wait, so does that mean the game... No, I'm very confused by the logic now. Because I feel like the mirror was locked by all 6 Palace of Darkness small keys, because you could theoretically use the 5 to open up everything except Dark Maze.
There was the Master Sword in Dark Maze. Gosh, what else? I think...
And the mirror was on the big chest.
Yeah, you're right. When did we find the Dark Palace big key?
Very early on. But the 6th pod small key we just found in GT.
I mean, they got through it without it, so...
Oh yeah, obviously, again, our runners are not always so concerned about following the logic. if they can get around it.
It's more of a guideline than anything.
Yeah, it's a suggestion. And there's our castle tower's small key to open up that second chest in Aghanim's tower. Oh, Goomba giving us the ped check.
Do it, come on, Goomba! Nope, the Ice Palace had it! Get your kiss from the old man, get back in your tower, and go get that pig, sir. You are in go mode. Actually, does he have all the keys?
As we see, Ped just had a Misery Mire small key for us, so rip the Ped dream. I believe he still had one small key left when he left Ganon's towers, so he will be fine to get all the way up.
Well, on the bright side, that's this, Goomba's headed for Ice Palace, but he's still far behind. He's got to hope Thalane makes up or makes some mistakes.
Alright, chat is resolving my confusion about the pod key logic. In case anyone was watching the VOD later and can't see the chat, the bow was mirror locked, so it would be impossible to use your small keys in a dumb way trying to get to Helmasaur early. So there was no way to access that 6th small key door in pod until after you got the bow, until after you got the mirror anyway. So the mirror was in logic with only 5 small keys. At any rate, Thalane is now back in Ganon's tower and is starting his climb just as Goomba is heading into Ice Palace. So Goomba's going to need a lot of falls on Ganon from Thalane here, which I do not expect to see too many issues with the Ganon fight, since Thalane has red mail, plenty of hearts, silver arrows, and butter sword.
Easily through the cannonball room. And now on to the gauntlet. Now, did you clock when Thalane went back in? Because I'm curious of how many minutes Goomba's behind.
Yeah, I did not look at exactly when it was.
Getting hit a bit, but not that troubled at all. Like you said, he's got red mail. He is not worried.
Just missing that 3rd silver arrow on the Landmo 2 fight. So we'll check here. He went through the Landmo 2 door at 1:49:38.
Most satisfying room in the game.
It's not for me. I can never get that 4th one. I'm sure my setup is wrong somehow.
Hey, trust me, you still do better than me.
Goomba is routing directly toward the iced tea chest, so we'll get his GT Big Key as soon as possible here in Ice Palace.
Thalane not bothering with any other chests. He doesn't need it. He's got everything he needs and some. This is about the only chance Goomba has if Thalane keeps getting knocked off, but he's not gonna. He's got this nice and easy.
Does not open validation chest. Chat unhappy.
He doesn't care. He's here to do geometry. Ooh, that's only one. Having a little bit of slow time with Ganon, but I don't think he'll have too much overall. He's got 1, 1, 1, 2.
Yeah, Ag 2 was not cooperating with the blue balls there, but he does get through it.
And now it is off to finish the pig. Goomba back in tower, back in Ganon's tower, doing his best. And don't get me wrong, both of the runners have done really, really great this seed. It was just a matter of RNG in that first escape, kind of stopping Goomba from getting his gloves as soon as Thalane did.
Yeah, and then he was sort of making, for most of the seed, about the only play he could make looking for items after that, and the seed just never really gave him a chance to catch back up.
Stage 4, let's get those silvers out.
Thalane just missing the torch glitch there, but with half magic and silvers, that's not too much of a concern.
And that's it, Thalane has gotten this. All he has is a tiny 1x3 bridge. Goomba is about 5 minutes behind because I clocked Thalane at 1:49 when he entered that room.
And Thalane will cross the bridge at 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 10 seconds on our timer. We'll finish the race in first place, bring this series to 2-2, which means there will be a Game 5 between the Last Locationers and Team Awesome. I believe that is scheduled for tomorrow, and if I have that correct, that is going to be between Illis and Hitsuyan.
That's correct. It'll be at 3:30 EST.
So get your GGs in chat for Thalane. They're all already there. It's a good time while we have a second to remind you to give both of these runners a follow. All of the runners in this tournament are super skilled at Link to the Past, and they're putting out great streams for you all the time. So give them a follow, show your appreciation. And I believe we are joined by Thalane in the Discord voice chat right now.
Yeah, hey, what's up?
How's it
Good
going,
game,
GG?
man.
Thanks, and GG to Goomba as well. That was quite the scene. So, For the most part, it felt really nice. The only two things that really bothered me, obviously, was the GT Bicky and the Titans. Other than that, I think that was like one of the kindest Key Sanity seeds I've ever played, because everything just like fell into your hands. And I mean, I made a mistake in pot at the start because I kind of, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking with the 5 small keys, and I just save and quit after getting the first chest. But yeah, I immediately went back. I'm happy I did that to get my mirror, and yeah, after that I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel too bad because I did the same thing. You saved and quit out, and I said, "Oh, pod is bow locked," forgetting that we're in Key Sanity.
Yeah, I mean it's so easy to just mix up everything. I mean, like right before this match, I played a match for the Overworld Glitches tournament, and so like just switching, yeah, from A to B and back to A. It's sometimes you get a little bit confused.
So let's talk a little bit about the GT Big Key hunt. How did you feel when you found that Ice Palace Big Key behind Ice Armos?
And that was pretty funny. I thought, dude, that can't be the GT Bicky, right? I mean, I knew Swamp Bicky, that was not possible, but I knew Ice Palace Bicky was also somewhere. So I saw that Bicky, I was like, dude, that's gonna be Ice Palace, right? And then it was Ice Palace, and I felt like, dude, come on, just give it to me. And also the absence of like any GT Bicky hints, like every Key Sanity seed has one of the, like one hint is the GT Bicky hint, right? But we checked every dungeon hint except Aga Tower and the one in the Dark World shopping mall, like in the bottom right corner of the map. So one of these two has to be the Bicky hint, I think.
There was also the Misery Mire hint, because
Oh,
you
right.
got the hint about the left side of Mire, so then you also missed the hint in Mire, unfortunately.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I thought, like, when I was in Swamp, I thought about, what should I do? Should I just go for, like, obviously do Thieves Town next, but should I do just GT, which is the obvious play? I don't know what Goomba is gonna think. Maybe he feels like, okay, they are 2-1 ahead, so he might gamble Ice Palace or maybe Swamp left side, which was like totally out of question for me. So I thought, should I just go for hints and just find that hint and then go for that? That would have been actually the faster play in this seed, I think. Although I couldn't even gotten the Aga Tower hint without the second small key.
Yeah, we were discussing that, because so Goomba had the issue where he did not get a bomb drop in Escape, and so it took him a long time to get back there to get the gloves, unfortunately, to get the first power gloves and Dark World access. So he probably felt behind for a lot of that run. So we were discussing if he might do something sort of just try and guess what you were going to do in that situation and do the opposite thing and hope that it worked out.
Yeah, I mean it's so easy to like change your decision during a run, just because of how you feel, like if you're ahead, if you're behind. I try not to let myself be influenced that much by this, because I feel like sometimes you make like strange gambles that you would normally not do if it's just like a casual race with friends or something, right? So I try to just do my thing, play my game, and then obviously, like, as it gets towards the end, like in this case, you get flippers as almost your go mode item, and it's just the GT Big Key left. You know, like, someone's just gonna, like, luckily find that Big Key, and the other guy doesn't. But I think in this case, we both did the right play and just go to GT, I think. So yeah, there has been worse seats.
Yeah,
Well, it sure
certainly that
cleared
was
it out. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, that was definitely the percentage play, just with so many items in Ganon's Tower that might have been the big key.
Yeah, like, I really didn't want to go to Ice and then just read a hint the Big Key is in Ganon's Tower. That would be, like, really awful.
We brought that up too. Yeah, if you're in here, you may as well go as far as you can. And it looks like we do have Goomba in here with us as well. Looks like still setting up a little bit. But are you excited for getting this, pushing it to map 5, Thalane?
Yeah, I mean, it's like for the viewers, it's obviously a little bit like more exciting. I feel like because as a runner, you really don't want to play like the 5th game. I mean, this time I don't have to do it myself, so this is kind of a nice thing. So I can just blame Hitsuyan if he doesn't win. But yeah, I think it's fun. I mean, the league all in all has been pretty great, and a game 5 in the playoffs right off the bat, that seems like a really good thing.
GG Thalane.
Yo, GG Goomba.
Feels
Goomba, how
bomb
do you
drop,
feel?
man. I'm salty about the stupid glove. That's how I feel.
So, how much did you farm in this game, actually?
I killed pretty much all the guards. I killed almost all the snakes. I killed the giant rat pack after Darkcross. I killed all of that, and I didn't get a single bomb.
Huh. I think for me it was like the 3rd snake drop or something. I don't know. Maybe like you probably just got really unlucky and didn't get any drops.
Pretty
'Cause if
much,
it's-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if it's the 3rd prize, you should get it really fast because it's 50-50 for a prize to drop, right? So
Yeah. I just
some people can't do the math. I
got
can't.
really
So.
unlucky, I guess. And then, like, through all of Swamp Palace, I was debating in my head, do I go to Ice or do I go to GT? And I really, really wish I had gone to Ice.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, so Goomba, what was your thought process there? Were you thinking about just what's the right play to make? Were you trying to play off of what you thought the lane would do, or...?
I was just trying to figure out if I was ahead or behind. I really wasn't sure, because, like, sure, I got kind of screwed by Bomb RNG and Escape, but I figured, given how much I farmed, there was a chance Thalane also got screwed by that, so I didn't really think too much about it. And I feel like I had skipped a lot of, like, slower locations and routed fairly efficiently, so I couldn't determine if I was actually ahead or behind. If I had realized I was behind, I probably would have just gone to Ice Palace.
Yeah, it's just really hard to tell. I mean, I felt pretty like I wasn't sure if I was ahead or behind either because I almost last location the mids, so that took me a long while to get those. And
Yeah, same.
but after that, everything just like went really smooth. So I did the Smith stuff before going to T-Rock, so I got the 3rd key, so I could just clear it, and
Yep,
like
same.
everything just worked out pretty well, decision-wise. Just the mids was like not the nicest thing, and the GT Bicky, and I made a mistake. It's like right when I got Darkwood access, right, I went to Hype Cave and then over to Pod. I checked the pyramid before and then went to Pod. I opened the first chest, which had rupees, I think, and then I assumed, okay, Pod is bowlogged, and I save and quit, and then I like immediately realized, I was like, oh no, dude, what are you doing? And then I just went back there. It was kind of lucky that it was the mirror that was in the big chest, because then I just did Eastern Palace right after and got my lamp, so that was pretty nice.
Yeah. I had already done Eastern Palace because I got my glove in my very last spot.
Yikes. I mean,
That was fun.
I checked everything eventually too. I don't.
Yeah,
like,
but I had to walk through all of the sewers again, and that was garbage.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to tell sometimes. Like, if that's. I mean, obviously, if I would have left open a couple of spots, that would have saved me a ton of time. But I think, like, I would be very interested to, like, get some numbers on how much time I saved just by you not getting a bomb drop or stuff like that, right? Because it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you both really followed the same route for the most part. After the first trip up Death Mountain where you found the fire rod, it was sort of like the logical play after that, right? You go to Skull Woods, and then you hit the south side of Dark World, and then just sort of on from there. So you really both follow a lot of the same routing through the game.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the myths, I feel like that seed was really linear for the most part.
I mean, I think you could yeah, for the most part, I guess. I think the only mistake you really could have made is go to T-Rock before doing the Smith stuff, and then that would have
Yeah.
been kind of bad.
And I guess going to Village of Outcasts before pod, but when the game gives you that many pod keys,
I know,
you kinda
right?
just have to go, right?
Yeah, it gives you 5 pod keys and the big key before you even got Dark World access, so you have to go there, I think. I think it was 4 actually. The 5th one was on the pyramid.
Yeah, I got that
So,
one
yeah.
on the way there, so.
Yeah, so you really you just have to go there. There's no question about that.
Yep.
Because the game really wants to make sure that you get into like the deeper parts of pod to get like some good progressive item, and yeah, that happened.
Yeah. I was pretty sure it would be the mirror. Could have been the hookshot too, I guess. But I was feeling mirror. And I was right, so that's neat.
Well, GG to both of you again. You both did really, really well.
Yeah,
Thank
both
you.
finishing this somewhat trolly Key Sanity Seed in under 2 hours. Very good, considering you basically all dungeoned it.
Yeah, there were some checks done.
Yeah, 178 is the final collection rate for both of you, so that's a lot of the game that you finished
For
in 2
both of
hours.
us, that's pretty great actually.
I wonder if it's the same 178 checks. Probably not, right?
It very well, except for, let's see, Goomba,
The sword.
you did not. The sword in the first chest of Aga Tower.
The last
And-
bottle, it looks like. Wasn't that also Aga Tower?
our tracker's just behind. Yeah, they both have all 4 bottles.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I didn't go to Aga Tower because I derped on the logic. Aga Tower was the last spot I had left that wasn't locked behind the Mitzer mirror, so I thought it had to be the 6th pod key, but I forgot the whole... Since the bow was locked behind the mirror, I didn't actually need all 6 pod keys for the Dark Maze. Forgot about that little aspect, so I kind of derped on that.
Yeah,
Did not
nice
hunt.
file names, Goomba.
Thank you.
I think actually it was the sword in Aga Tower, and then the fact that Thalane hard reset after the mushroom, so it's not counting collecting that item.
Mm.
So I think it was otherwise literally the exact same checks throughout.
Yeah, and then I forgot to do fake powder when I had the chance to. That was pretty great.
I didn't want to because I had half magic and that would take a day.
I actually did that in the other race earlier. I just had cane to spend my magic, so I stood there for like half a minute just spamming the cane with half magic. That was pretty great.
Oh my jeez.
But it was worth it. That actually won me the race, so that's pretty cool.
Whatever works, I guess. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of fake powder.
Yeah, I normally don't do that either. I don't know, like you saw in this race, I just straight up forgot. But sometimes I remember, and then sometimes it pays off, but most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah. I had a nice race against Zelda the other day where he kept his mushroom to do fake powder, then forgot to do fake powder, and then got his go mode on the mushroom like an hour later.
Yeah, Zelda also won that Key Sanity tiebreaker race like over a year ago by fake powdering. So that was pretty great. Like, not many people knew about that, so it was like one of, I think, 3 people who actually fake powdered, and he won by like 2 minutes.
Oof.
Yeah, so that was cool. But yeah, it's been a fun race. It's been fun racing you, actually, Goomba, so thank you for that.
Yeah, we had some good races. GG's.
And it's 1-1 now, so maybe next big tournament we can finally get like a decision on that. That would be pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Or next league
absolutely.
season, who knows?
There's always next season, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, GG to both runners. Thank you both for putting on a great show. And I should say thank you again to our tracker, DMN, who kept track of this this very trolly seed for us. And thank you, of course, to all of our viewers out there in chat plotting out the great trolls and letting us put on a great show for you. So thank you very much for supporting Speed Gaming. Any final thoughts from our runners?
Just again, like we always do, thank you both for commentating this. Like, we couldn't have these races without you guys, and also DMN for tracking this. Once again, I think he also tracked the last race we both did, right? And
I believe so, yes.
yeah, and obviously thanks everyone for watching this. It would be a lot less fun without, getting to do all this. So thank you everyone.
Yeah, Thalane took the words out of my mouth. Thank you, everyone.
Well, it was a pleasure watching you guys run.